I, Zahara Bidi.
Hi, Elisha.
We
We are
are
software
software engineers.
engineers.
What we find fascinating about the rise of AI and ML.
Our discussion looking at big data when it comes to uh, using big data in business to look at customer behavior. Because if I'm running a supermarket and I want to know how the customers are buying my stock, I would only base on the big data so that I know which item is within the stock and which one needs restocking. So all this can be done through analysis of the data. And in this way, if we have this integrated big data analysis, we would definitely know our consumer or customer behavior when it comes to buying our product. So we will kickstart our discussion on the evolution of big data in giving us decision which product we should buy to look at customer behavior. Even when you want to, you're running a small business and you're focusing on what type of product should I buy for my customers. All this will based on consumer behavior or customer behavior. So let's kickstart that discussion from there. What are your take on big data in decision making when it comes to
Yeah.
consumer or customer behavior?
Guys, thank you for catching us again. We thank you for the previous episode about remote working, and I think it's necessary to now to venture into big data for remote working, because as we are trying to know our customers. So I think one of the issues currently most companies are facing is knowing their customers. And obviously, in Uganda, it's very hard due to the lack of linked identification, implying we don't have integrated systems. If you are a bank, to know your customer, you have to do manual research, go to the field. If you are a mobile money, the mobile money companies also suffer from this. The fintechs, more especially the startups, we who are starting up small businesses, it's hard for us. At least if we had to pay 100K per month to access a big data of the whole country, this would help us know our customers without having spend a lot of money on field work. So I think big data is really something each country. I think this again we should talk directly to the government, because it's hard for the private sector to invest in such integrations for the entire country.
I
So
think recently, let's look at it in terms of the telecom companies. We have
yeah,
seen KYC coming in, KYC, which is know your customer.
yeah,
The reason why I started with the customer perspective is when you look at companies like Airtel, MTN in Uganda, this company, they have millions of people who are using their SIM cards.
yeah,
And if the SIM card is not registered in their names, how will they know when probably crimes are committed and
mm,
people use this SIM cards, the phone for communication to commit crime? So that's why now the registration processes has come in for know your customer, and because you're dealing with large or big amount of data that
yeah.
really requires proper analysis. So in order to verify or validate whether someone has registered, that means you cannot easily query a database if you don't use big data to know that this phone number is connected to this NIN,
Mm.
because you can only do that and then analyze and see which one are missing NIN, and then probably it helps you to give you the next
Yeah.
decision whether to switch them off or to leave them operating.
And you see, this thing of youth lack of big data in our country, it's really suffocating the startups. Honestly, because of recent, I realized that to access the national database, then this for the IDs, the NERA database, it's 200K per month. But so sad, you're only paying 200K to only access the person's details, just where they come from and their NIN number and stuff. We are lacking now. They are there are other parts of maybe what are they doing for their life. It shows that at least if we are paying that 200K for the overall system for the person, we are linked to the Ministry of Works. We know how these guys work. We have it's linked to the different banks. So that let's value the people's money. Such money is afforded by big companies like those already established MTN, Airtel. But you remember, the small companies are unable to grow. Whether your service is as good as what, but you can't really provide your service with ease, it's hard for it to grow. And remember, as a company grows, the people gaining the services, that shows they are happy and also growing. And who benefits at the end of the day? Everyone. So I think we must embrace this as we also look into different areas that can help our country grow, and with the young people, the innovators, the tech people in the tech world, even people in the business world. Because let's say if you are carrying, let's say of recent, you see people are coming up to do direct importations of stuff from abroad, but so sad you invest in your big company to import your stuff, but you really don't know how much people, what can your target market really afford. You're going to find that you're importing things for average people, yet say you have people who could buy them even if you imported expensive stuff. So say, oh, this is lack of data. Obviously, it comes at a cost and privacy. Some people may not want to expose their identities or their abilities to the world to stay anonymous. But still, this could be catered for when you are removed. Maybe you could give people access to statistics, not actual people's names, not like this person is this, but at least show us on average, uh, m- maybe 100 people in this locality consume this.
I think also one of the things, since we're still dealing with the customer behavior when it comes to the market trends, what I find it a little bit challenging and disturbing with our country when with the use of big data is that they don't focus so much on what the customers want because they don't have the data.
Yeah, that's
Anyone,
true.
that's why most business start and they fail
And they collapse.
and they collapse because they don't understand consumer behavior. These days, a lot of even the dressing code is changing, and and when you realize that there are so many people who still buy products that the behavior of the people who are using it has totally changed.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is one of the big things that we should really see in the field of what business in big data. Like now, I don't know. Here, it's still maybe probably a common thing. I still see KFC uh, continuing with such. Sorry for that. I still see KFC continuing with fries, but these days a lot of people prefer uh, dealing with roasted uh, chicken than the fries. And because the consumer behavior is changing, those companies which are not using big data, they will continue producing the same product and keep saying that the business is not growing or
Yeah.
is not flourishing. Yet the consumer behavior has changed.
Yeah.
People are targeting now. You see people go for. I'm just giving these examples because these are
That's
areas
the
that
reality.
realities that big data would
Yeah.
have really helped because of understanding the improved understanding of the market trends is what is affecting many businesses in our country. You see, even when it comes to season for planning, let's take for instance the government roll out the PDM, the Paris Development Model, and these models, the data they analyze, you see, they are supposed to give money, and that money is going for farming. But the season for farming is coming to an end. They have not utilized the power of big data to understand that if you're going to give out money that is going to be used for an activity in agriculture, what is the season? Now they tend to release the money in a period where you can't actually be used in farming.
Yeah.
Like you give out the PDM money or the loan in September.
I think to add on that issue of the PDM, we have ghost people. Okay, these ghost people who are earning from it. We have these fake people who are maybe somebody the RDS is only giving his family members,
Mm.
and I already see President Mr. Museveni talking a lot about such events. But
Mm.
let's say, why doesn't he embrace technology to solve this? If we had big data and
There would be better
yeah, let's say
assessment and then integration.
you can't have a ghost. I can't take money twice if we have big data.
Now
This is
you
technology.
mentioned that there was this period which I think it was during COVID where
Yeah.
people were registered and they were getting
That money
that money.
from Madam Nabanja, the Prime
I think
Minister's
people may not
office.
understand now, but I think it was COVID relief fund.
The
Yeah,
COVID
the
relief
COVID
fund.
relief fund which was given out. But you see, a lot actually people have testimony where they have received that money twice. It was probably 100,000, but you find one
Wow.
person
Me,
or other families that you find they have received over 1 million.
even on top of that,
Mm,
me, I got a chance to witness this,
mm.
where the period had closed for giving the refund, but these people were still hustling to balance books. So they would call random people and give them money. You just call them like, hey, can you please send me your national ID or what? And they give you the money. This is all that the government makes a lot of losses just because of their traditional. I think they still think we are in the bush world, but
No,
literally things
they're
have
working.
changed.
They're working because that data is big in the first aspect. So if it is a big data, now they they release a lot of funds. Okay, they cannot mitigate. Now the money is already released, but people have not received the money. Now for people to receive that money, they are based on their uh, national the NIN, the national identification number, and then what? Their phone numbers
Mm.
for validation. Okay, that is how they were doing it in terms of the assessment. That means a lot of money has been released, but the money went to a few category of
Yeah.
people
But this
because
money.
especially in that maybe country or sub country, or maybe
So
I don't know.
if we had a centralized database
Mm,
where you would just query
mm,
people, maybe border drivers, they must register, and this thing should continue to be updated depending on their ethics and the track. Because you have to cooperate with the police, you have to cooperate with the different organizations. In that, if you say this relief fund is going to border riders,
mm.
just query the database, get out the
And
border riders, synchronize the data, and do the dispersion of money and disperse the money.
yeah, and one thing that I've seen, if they had used big data, they would have probably improved on the efficiency. Because one of the things I see is the resources have not been allocated properly.
Yeah.
There has been actually misappropriation of these resources. Because if you look at the performance matrix of this COVID relief fund, the money was not equitably distributed. Money remained, and money went to some people received that money twice, and that is a sign that if they had used big data, they would have mitigated on the risk of the uh, distribution of this. Now, if you are to identify some of these, uh, like the time they wasted, the run time, the downtime which they wasted, especially in collecting the data, if they had the big data from the national databases, they would not. You see, it is only in our country where you can collect data for the same activity twice. When you have a huge
Yeah.
national data bank, which is not well validated, and they waste a lot of money, resources, which would have been channeled to solve some of the government problems. That's why our country is sinking in terms of the allocation
Now
of
look at
resources.
this weakness.
Mm,
These people have the village health teams,
mm,
and these people of recent, I remember when they were serving out mosquito nets, these
mm,
guys were using phones.
mm,
Since they were capturing data from the people, where was data going? Did
mm.
they like destroy it after? Because this should be the same that these guys should feed to our database
Mm.
so that people can always use this thing
In fact, they would
for
validate the
understanding and
databases.
planning. You get? Because for every activity, let them try to collect enough data about it. For now, we may not have the big data that can support all the activities of the government. But at least you could see in 5 years to come, if you did collect accurate data for whatever activity the government conducts, it shows your system would grow in 10 years to come. You find you don't have to collect data again. All you need is maybe set up systems at hospitals, at everywhere. When a new kid is born, you capture their details. Let's know how many. Let's know their names. Let's so that by the time we all we need is to keep refining and cleaning the
Now,
data.
this gives takes us to this area of the challenges of big data. One of the challenge that they are talking, you are now referring to, is data quality and reliability of the data.
Yeah.
The data they are collecting, do we have trust in the data? Is the data complete? Is the data reliable? Okay, can we use this data for our next analysis to avoid the inconsistencies that we have? Otherwise, if they collect the same data like maybe 2 or 3 times, what's the impact of having big data? Because if you have big data in place, and you've been collecting that data, that means you would improve on your data quality, improve on accuracy,
Yeah.
improve on completeness of the data, and also improve on what? The readability of data. So this reduces the inconsistency that you
Mm.
have to go and collect the data, health data,
Every
every
yep.
month
But
and waste
okay, I
resources.
think my think maybe these people just want less resources. They think I think they benefit from
No,
it.
maybe they don't know the benefits of big data. Because if you running a large database
Mm.
and you have a data set, you can analyze this data set and then get to know exactly the you derive decision basing from the analysis from the large data set.
But I have a question.
The system they have,
Mm.
these people use the AI. Okay, the problem is that our the government still use static systems. They are not AI systems. And then two, they have problem with data integration. Most
Mm.
systems are independent.
Yeah,
Okay?
that's true.
That
Mm.
and since the systems are independent, they cannot synchronize the databases and they cannot connect the databases. Maybe they're probably trying to look at the aspects of data privacy and security. Maybe how they could handle this large sensitive data. Probably that's what they could look at it. But if they also implement robust security measures to help regulate on how they can protect the data and also provide ways of unauthorized access, then they should not really be they should not compromise the use of the data because
Yeah.
all this you wait they are almost rolling out the next uh, enrollment of the NERA and then update, okay, of the database system. I think this is the only time where they should use the opportunity to clean up their databases
Yeah.
and then improve on the data quality.
But
And once
I
they
have a,
have the data quality, even the services that are going to come to
but it's something that really perturbs me in the sense that when your national identification, see, these people are humans who use these systems.
mm,
When they make a mistake on your ID,
mm.
you to rectify their mistake, you have to pay for their mistake.
You see, that's what they call double taxation.
Yeah, honestly, and they would have if these guys were really there are better alternative ways of making money for
Mm.
the government than having to suffocate your people. Because
But also, let me get back to you. Do you think we have expertise and skillful people who can extract meaningful insights from the big data and then help provide decision for the entire country within
uh,
our country?
yeah,
Because when you look at
I
these
think we
scalable
have.
infrastructures that are within, do you think really the government is having that potential of the expertise in the field of big data?
No, to answer that, to
Mm.
me, my honest opinion would be,
Because
yeah,
probably
the one
you see
they
that
have. I think
inconsistency
they have.
is,
The only problem
and for
is
me, I don't think.
how do they do it? Okay, I have a question. If it's just collecting data, hmm, is it hard for them? Because you say we have Makerere University, it has IT like let's
No,
say IT
even the
students.
university still suffers. The
You see,
university still
yeah, that's
suffers.
what I'm saying.
Mm.
These people suffer because they want suffer. They're just conservative. Because if you are to conduct a survey, you will need the land, right, to help you. People who are educated to conduct your surveys. You'll need people who know the different languages, right?
Mm.
It's also that you want to collect data from Gulu
Mm.
and you're taking people from Kampala to collect data from there.
Mm.
That's because you are being too selfish. You just want to use the people you know. You get?
Mm.
Because honestly, if you went to Gulu University, target the right period of time, target the holidays,
Mm.
get people from Gulu themselves, and they help with the data collection. They understand the place,
Mm.
they know the language, they know how to interact with that person, that cold person in the village in their own language, and they'll get you the right data you need. When you after you've collected the data and you come to the time of cleaning and rectifying the data, now which kind of people do you need help you on that? You get? These are the people who will need just give the right people the right chance to do the right thing. Not this is my but I know this person. This person, if he takes to give me half of the money. That's the reason. That's what the only thing we are unable to achieve that. Not because we lack the people, just because we lack the brains to do it in the right way. I think that's the only issue we suffer from.
But now let me summarize something here on. I'm not summarizing the entire discussion, but I want to summarize something on the challenges that I see with our big data. Because when you look at it in this
But
aspect of data quality and reliability, so there's a lot of incomplete data which we have. And then two, this data that they really often use, we do not understand their source. That's why we have a lot of errors. You mentioned it clearly that when they use people who understand their language or in an area, probably from different region, they would help us get probably a data that we can understand from its source. So that's why our biggest problem that I see with our data, that's why they are not handling it very well, is because of inconsistency with the sources how these data are being collected, and that's why we have poor data
yeah,
quality.
to add on that, it's one, our government is reluctant that up now they will need your certificate birth, okay, birth card, all those, yeah. How do, if you checked, how do they issue them out? This is the problem with our government or our people, even ourselves. Look at the schools themselves. The school will ensure you that when you report the school, right now, if you went to some of the schools went for nursery, primary one, they still don't have you in there. They don't have you in the records. Why? They used files. These files they pile up and they occupy a lot of space and they burn them out. But if it was them, if they were paying for cloud services somewhere, or they had servers, or they had digitized their systems, you'd find that it's easy to track someone from their day one to their last day in the world. I think other countries beat us on this. So say
No, the reason why
when
other countries beat
health
us.
systems are automated,
Mm,
they are in the technical that when a kid is born, his identification records, height, weight, health status, or what are recorded at the time of birth in the system, and they are accessible by the Ministry of Health. But now, when the kid is born somewhere in Uganda, here they'll write you on a piece. They write for you the stuff on a piece of paper, and the mother will carry it home. And I think obviously the government will have to face the repercussions of to not know what in which state our kids getting born, or how many kids are getting born every day, because the system are not centralized. They are just like I don't know. I even don't.
Silos, the systems are
Yeah,
in silos, independent systems. And then also one thing that probably why you see different organizations are collecting independent data is the kind of policy. You see, you could use REST API to help access some of those data. Then which data you can show. Of recent, NIRA has done that bit of integration, okay? The data integration, where you can access some information. You can request for it as a company.
yeah.
And there are data that are made available to the public and those that are not made available to the public, okay? To different organizations. But also, they also depend on the organization. You're requesting for this data. What do you need from the data?
Yeah, which is
So the
fine.
whole issue why all these institutions are collecting independent data is because of the privacy. You want to access the data, you are not given. So you create a situation to collect the data. And once you collect that data, you probably own the data in case anything happens with the data, the integrity. Because those are sensitive information that needs to be protected. So
But
with but they don't have robust system. So and then two, the regulations of this, because probably when it comes to the nearer the identification, people normally look at what? The NIN numbers, which is the most important thing. Because once you get the NIN number, you can probably, because your NIN number is connected to your bank account, it is
yeah,
connected to your telephone, it's connected to so many activities. That's why they normally look at the security aspect of it. But to me, what I still feel is that the skills and expertise, they still lack people be who should be able to extract and then analyze that data to provide insightful meaning from those big data. Otherwise, if we, I don't know whether they have enough data scientists or data analysts or professionals who understand analytical techniques or the tools they use. You know very well that to analyze this data, you need data science, machine learning, or AI knowledge to be able to extract this data. And then another thing is that I don't understand whether they also know that there are also the cost of managing this big data. Okay, when you look at the processing capability, some of this data processing of processing of big data takes a lot of memory.
Yeah.
I don't think whether the organization is able to buy those servers or machines that can handle those large volumes for processing.
That's right. That's why it may I was of a view that the big data should not be owned by an independent organization.
Mm,
Let the government own this. It could invest in this, you
mm,
get?
mm,
And then they charge, just like NERA does, they
mm,
charge you to access their database,
mm,
you get? And who access this data? It's somebody who has, it's a company that's licensed.
mm. Yeah, you must be licensed
Yeah, you
because we
see.
would know.
And now, if you are licensed and now the government is already selling its data
Mm,
to the companies and they're paying for it,
mm,
you get? So, and the government would make a lot of money. Instead of having now, NERA is making money, now you find the health system is making money, your neighbor is making money
mm,
independently.
mm,
And all these people come along with more, and that shows the company has to pay twice. If I need work from NERA, I have to pay. If I need work from your neighbor, I have to pay. If I need, but if all this was centralized and they came up with an average cost to hope the organizations run smoothly with all they do, this would be better. They just centralize everything and they come up one big data
I think now you're on
that's
this part. Probably now you're looking at ways how to overcome some of these challenges that
yeah.
we have in using big data in decision making. So one of them is you mentioned about they should invest on data quality to ensure that the data is accurate and it's more reliable,
Mm,
so that they can be accessed. And then also maybe develop integration strategies or tools that leaders are using to adopt to some of the integrations across different systems that they have. And then probably also prioritize on investing on those scalable platforms like cloud computing, which you already mentioned, so that they can help into analysis of this large volume of data, which takes a lot of memory. And then probably I would feel they collaborate with or consult with other companies so that they can leverage on big data, because
yeah.
government alone may not be very perfect in handling some of this big data. So, with all this being said, this probably might take us to the end of big data. But just know that this topic of big data, we're just beginning it today, but we will get more on the part two, because we have noise coming in from the background, and we do not want to get copyright. So we will end this discussion here. But please, if you have not subscribed,
Click the
subscription
subscription
button,
button and the
turn on the
notification
notification,
button so
and
that
then
you keep posted with everything because we'll have a lot for you guys. We are cooking. Soon you guys are going to appreciate everything. So just don't miss out.
so like, share, comment in the comment section below. See you in our next episode. So we have our we have our we have a lot in store that will be running for the entire week. So from today you will be seeing all these videos being uploaded throughout. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Bye.
Yes.